Things are still bad, but they have improved. The weeks and months after the Y2K collapse were far worse than the experts had predicted. Coders thought that all the patches and software changes were going to work, but they were wrong. Just 8 years ago in LA, supplies, services, utilities, and law and order broke down.
It looks to be a 9mm Uzi.
This has to be a disturbing sight to LA.
So, during the last few months of 1999, Frank began stockpiling food, water, batteries, and other supplies. He even went out and bought a new pistol. Gun magazines at Barnes & Noble, and even some movies, convinced Frank that he needed a Glock.
Get yourself a Glock. Lose that nickel-plated sissy pistol.
The clerk talked Frank into a new modern caliber, 40 Smith & Wesson. He even said the FBI have swapped over. He said this new caliber would render 9mm and .45 auto obsolete. Frank was even able to buy a government-only magazine, but we'll keep that on the down low. Frank wanted a new rifle as well, but all the gun shop had on hand was something called a pre-ban AER something or another. But that thing was well over $1,000. He thought to himself, at those prices, those rifles will never be popular. So he decided just to stick with his old Mini 14. Elections will probably still be held later on this year. Al Gore was the front runner until it came out that he claimed he invented the internet.
So I took the initiative in creating the internet.
Then people associated all computer viruses with him. So, in a bid to return to the normalcy of the 90s, Bill Clinton's wife said she would step into the ring.
And there's one other thing I'll fight against: the divisive politics of revenge and retribution.
So she seems like a decent person. Frank heard that his local store was partially stocked, so he decided to get what he could and save his stockpile. When he arrived, others said that they were closing soon and he should hurry. It looked pretty calm, so he left the rifle in the car. He grabbed a couple gallons of water and as many canned goods as he could carry. The parking lot was rather deserted when he walked out, with the exception of 3 ominous-looking men near his car. Frank tried to avoid trouble and quickly walked to his car. But it was no use. They started to rush him, yelling, "Let's gut him." Frank wheeled around and pulled his Glock that was hidden under his coat. Just then, he received gunfire from across the street. Frank reached his rifle and returned fire until it stopped. Clearly, this was an organized gang. But just then, a van pulled up and 3 more murderous punks jumped out. Then, from across the street in the Kmart parking lot, 5 more gang members came barreling towards him. Another wave? Frank couldn't believe what he was seeing. It reminded him of the clown car in the Barnum and Bailey circus he saw a few years ago. The rifle finally went dry and he switched to the big 40. Then disaster. He instantly regretted buying those bullets from that guy at the gun show who only had 8 fingers and packaged his stuff in Ziploc bags. But after fiddling with it for a little bit, he got the 40 back into action. Then, what looked like a small tank pulled up and started spitting lead at him. He knew he kept one more round in his pocket, so he pulled it out and took that final shot.